What a beautiful day it is outside.
I know, it's gorgeous.
I'm back here again with Emma. Emma, welcome back.
Thank you, Faith. So glad to be back, and so sad I missed it last month. But happy to be back in Charleston. Happy to be here and talking to you about the 360-degree leader.
Yeah, exactly. 360-degree leader. That's where we still are, because there's a lot of information to cover in there. And so last month we covered about how to add value to your boss or your supervisor. And this month we're going to continue. If you recall, we defined leadership as influence. So if I can influence you to follow me, I am leading you. So all of us have influence in some aspect of our lives, whether that's at home or at work. It's not defined by a position or a job title. I can have influence with my boss. I can have influence with my peers. I can have influence with my children. And so today we're going to talk about how to continue to build influence with your boss or your supervisor. So last month we talked about how to add value by lightening their load. And then, and if you recall, I said, when you build influence, you are doing two things, one of two things. You're either creating relationships. If you and I have a really good relationship, and I say, Emma, will you please do this for me, or can you help me with this? We have a good relationship. If you can do it, you're going to tell me.
Correct, absolutely.
Yeah. You're going to
be honest with you.
If we don't have a good relationship, Emma, hey, can you do this thing for me?
Nah, I don't know if I have time to, Faith.
You have to go. What's the thing that you hate doing the most?
I hate putting away laundry.
Oh, I can't do it. I've got to go put away laundry. Sorry.
Sorry, washing my hair.
Oh gosh, that is a beat down. So anyway, if we have a good relationship, Emma, can you help me with this?
Absolutely, I'd love to help you, Faith.
When we don't have a good relationship, hey, Emma, how would you like to participate in this 360-degree leader chat with me?
Sorry, too busy washing my hair.
Anyway, the same goes as with your children are going to be the same, your spouse is going to be the same, your peers, and your supervisor, right? If I have a good relationship with my supervisor, if I ask them to do something or to assist me or help me or even help boost me up and get me to that next level, if I have a good relationship with them,
they're going to be more willing to do it. They're going to want to help you. They're going to want to support you, whether that is your supervisor, whether that's your peer, whether that's somebody who works for you. And that relationship is really key when it comes to leading.
All good leadership is based on relationships.
Absolutely. That's very true. So I think that one of the things, though, is that you need to invest your time in that. And that's one of the 360-degree leader is investing in relational chemistry. Right?
Yeah. And so I think the first thing is the first point in the book, it says, listen to your leader's heartbeat. And so that means really, it says, do you know what makes them laugh? Do you know what makes them cry? Do you know what makes them sing? Just knowing these things about them, right? That is the basis of building any relationship, is getting to know that person.
Yes, and spending time with them so that you do know what their priorities are and what they get enthusiastic about.
I was just going to say, getting to know these things, like these little intricate details, is always helpful because, if I know even what my supervisor is like, his family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I know his family's name, if I go to him and say, hey, how's your wife? How's your son? How's your kid? How is that ballet recital or whatever, right? That's going to just lift me up a notch in their eyes.
Well, it shows that you value them as well as a person, and you're invested in the relationship because you care about, their interests or their family or whatever it is.
So what are some other ways, and I know I'm putting you on the spot here because we didn't have questions. What are some other ways that you can kind of like be invested or start building that relationship with your bosses?
I think the best way to do that is to be curious. Always be curious. Ask questions. Don't make it about you. Make it about them. I think that's the best way to build any kind of relationship with somebody is make it about them. Be interested in not necessarily go take up golf because they're interested in golf. But you could ask about golf. You could learn a little bit about golf so that you can ask valuable questions that then they know and understand that you are invested in them personally as well as professionally.
Yeah, agreed. And then one of the ways that you can start building that relationship up also is by building trust with that person. So we talked a little bit before about different ways you can build trust. Like you can build trust by lightening their load. Honestly, you can build trust by doing your own job well. You can build trust by just making sure that you have integrity. And so, like when I have a conversation with you, if I haven't told you yes that I can do something that I can't actually do, right? That doesn't build trust with them, and that doesn't help a relationship.
No, not at all. And I think that to that point, I think it's and we've talked about this before, of being transparent and being like a real true person, not BSing, I want to say, your way through things and winging it, because that's not going to build that trust. It's going to deteriorate it. And just being honest as a person about things. So no, I don't know the answer to this, but I will find out for you and come back.
So if you can learn to adapt to your boss's personality while still being yourself, right? That's important. I'm not telling anybody to go out there and be some fake person, pretend you like something that you don't like or whatever. Keep adapt to your boss's personality. That's important, right?
Absolutely.
This is on you. We're trying to, what do you do when you're trying to like snag that guy at the bar?
I don't know, Faith. It's been a long time since I've tried to snag a guy at a bar.
I'm speaking here to the younger demographic.
About this.
What do you do when you're trying to snag a guy at the bar? How do you see yourself to be yourself?
Right.
But you're just like your better self.
So, but not fake.
But
There's a fine line.
You're your better self, and
Put your best foot forward.
Yeah, so it's so easy for us to come in when we're having a crappy day and just have like a crappy attitude all over the place. Do you do that with the boy at the bar?
And no, not if I wanted him to buy me drinks all night.
You slap a smile on that face. You ask how his day was.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, you can't expect them to adapt to your personality, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm pursuing them.
Yes, they're not pursuing you.
I'm not pursuing you.
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably enough about that topic.
That's enough about that topic.
So, if you can learn to adapt to your boss's personality while still being yourself and maintaining your integrity, you will be able to lead up.
Yes.
And that's really what it's all about. All of us know in our heads how do we create relationships, but it's really about putting it into action at work. I'm having conversations with you, I'm learning about you, I'm trying to understand what's important to you, what you like, what you dislike, and I'm, adapting around that.
Yep.
So not being fake, but I'm just building up that relationship, building up that trust, building up that value.
Yeah, absolutely. And investing time and energy into that relationship so that you can have trust and you can add value. Because if you don't, then they're not even going to consider what you have to say or trust you to be able to do your job well. I think that goes into the next section about being prepared every time you take your leader's time and making sure that you're prepared when you have a meeting set with them is going to continue to add that trust and that value. And the more of your relational chemistry you have with them, the less and less difficult it's going to be when you do have that time with your leader.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, everybody's busy. We know you're busy. And so I hope you would also know that your boss is busy. And so if you just come in there rambling about, like, you're not exactly sure what you want out of the conversation, and you just got, you're just like back and forth, and I'm just hoping that you'll catch what I need in here. You're not being direct. It is not really being respectful. So again, if we're building a relationship, respect is a part of everything in a relationship. And so if you go in to your boss's office and you don't, you haven't thought about what you want to say, you're asking them to think for you and come up with the words that you need for you, then you're wasting your time, and it really is just a little bit disrespectful.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the book, he mentions that for every minute of time, you need to invest 10 minutes in preparation.
Yeah.
And I think that's really true because they, like you said, they're busy as well. And if you're not coming prepared, you're going to lose any kind of trust that you have gained, any traction you've gained in leading up with them.
And another, so like that rolls into the knowing when to push and when to back off. We talked a little bit about this last month, just, being able to have conversations with your boss when you need to tell them something that they don't want to hear. But sometimes there's something that, like we want, or we feel we need, or we feel would be best in the organization, and really knowing when to say, like, do I have the relationship that I need to come to you and have this conversation with you, right? One, because if I have a good relationship with you, then I do feel like I can come and say, okay, I'd like this, or I need help with this, or whatever. But if we don't have that relationship, then that's step number one.
Yeah.
Right? I can't come into you and ask you for something that's kind of outside of the box unless we've already kind of established that. But that's okay.
And I think, one of the things that John Maxwell talks about in that when to push and when to back off is if you haven't built that relationship, you aren't going to recognize the temperature of their mood either. And so you aren't going to be able to determine if this is a good time to bring up this topic or a good time to ask for a need that you might have. And it will not be well received if their mood isn't going to be applicable for that situation. So kind of being able to gauge that is important, but if you don't have that relationship, you're not going to know.
Yep, that's true. It all starts with the relationship.
Yep.
And then it's important to be able to, so the book calls it do more than manage to lead. But I think it's a matter of having like a bigger perspective, right? So often we have a perspective of how something affects me in my bubble. And you have to realize that a leader is making decisions not based on you, right? But they're making decisions on a much larger level. So if it's a department manager, right, like they're thinking about they've got the department in mind. But like a lot of these the policies and stuff that come from corporate office or something, like these are put in place because of a lot bigger reasons than just you. So
factors
makes your life a little harder, right?
Yeah.
But also may save your job.
Right. And I think that, as a 360-degree leader, you're looking at all of those aspects. You're looking, how is it going to affect this part? How is it going to affect my peers? How is this affecting the greater organization? Before you're making a decision, it's not just, well, this will make my life easier, I don't really care about anybody else. It's looking at the 360-degree picture of it.
And I think that even that goes back to like when you have a conversation with your boss about something that you may need, right? Like, have you tried to open up your mind just a little bit and wonder, like, this thing that I'm coming to talk to him about, right, that I'm unhappy with, or what, that I need, like, have I thought about how it not only affects me, but how it might affect other people?
Right.
This thing that I'm asking,
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
And then I think that all of these things that we're talking about help build that relationship. They help build that like trust and respect and stuff that your boss has for you as you kind of like go through your day-to-day thinking like with these things in mind.
Yeah.
Like acting these out.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that it shows that you have thought things through, that it's not just a quick reaction to something that happened, that you're being considerate of all aspects of it before you're even coming to them and saying, this is the need that I have, or this is the support that I need, or whatever the case may be. And I think it adds that value and adds a respect aspect too, that they see that you've put the effort forth, that you have taken a look at the bigger picture and not just, well, this is going to benefit me.
Yeah.
And so I don't really care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when they see that from you, then they're more willing to, go out of their way to help you when you need something. And so the other things that you can do, right, becoming the go-to player, partly doing that is by, being willing to do sometimes what others won't, being able to produce when the pressure's on, when you don't have all of the resources that you think you should have, right? How do you make do with what you have? How do you, there's like a cooking show, and I can't remember the name of it, but they give them like this basket of, it's like Chopped or something, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And they give them this basket of ingredients, and they're like,
figure it out.
Like, make it happen, right? And so sometimes that's what it feels like with
absolutely.
us. But the better that you can do that and like stop whining and complaining, then like the more likely you are to kind of like get what you need, and you're also gonna kind of grow, and you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn different ways to do something that you didn't know was possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and then part of it too as being a go-to player is, even if you already have a heavy load, still being able to produce, because you want to be that person of when things are needed, and when it comes down to it, you're going to produce that result. You're going to do what it needs, do what you have to get the job done. I mean, not be shady about it, but
don't be shady. Don't be shady about it.
But like, when the pressure's on, can you produce? Can you be that go-to player?
Yeah. And then I think that the biggest aspect of relationship building, adding value, all of this is just being better tomorrow than you are today. I know you guys have probably heard me say this multiple times, but to me, that's my definition of success.
Yes.
Am I better today than I was yesterday? Do I know something more? Have I learned? Have I listened to somebody else and opened my perspective a little bit? Do I know how to do my job a little bit better, right? Because the reality is, the better you are at something, the more people are going to listen to you.
Yes, absolutely. Right? And the more skilled you are at your craft, people are going to recognize that. And they're going to come to you because they know that you're the expert in this craft. And you don't necessarily have to strive to be the CEO of the company, but strive to be really good at what you do and become the go-to person for that, and continually working on yourself, working on growing yourself professionally and personally, so that you are just adding value not only to your boss, but to everybody else as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Down here it says, if you don't make an effort to strategically talk to your craft with people that are ahead of you or better than you at it, in experience and skill, then you're really missing out on learning opportunities. Yes. So when we talk about how do I make myself better than I am today.
Yeah.
That is talking to other people that know how to do it and listening to them and hearing it. And it means practicing it, right? Practice makes perfect. The only way that we can continue to get doing better is by doing something over and over and practicing it as often as we can.
Absolutely. One of my goals this year was to become better at my craft. And so I've been focusing a lot on reading things, but you can't just get everything out of reading. So I've been going to conferences and meeting new people, and in some of those connections, I've learned more than the actual sessions of the conference because I'm talking about it and talking to people who know more than I do and who have been in it for a lot longer and are very skilled at it. And I've gained so much from that alone versus just sitting, in my home office and reading a book. I mean, you could do that all day long, but you work out problems when you talk to other people about it.
That is true. And don't forget, like, part of practicing is failing, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I did it and I messed up, but that's okay because
And it's
I'm doing
okay
it
to
tomorrow. And now I know what I can do differently.
Yeah.
And what so I think, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are afraid to fail, but in failure becomes growth because you've learned and you just try and do it better next time.
Yep.
I mean, unless you're an insane person, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, then you're not getting anywhere.
That's exactly right. So if you look back at past accomplishments and they don't look small to you now, then you haven't grown much. If you look back at a job you did years ago and you don't think that you could do it better now, then you're not improving in that area of your life.
It's interesting. It's so true. I think even a year ago, I look at stuff and I'm like, oh, what was I even so worried about that? Why did we have to be such a big deal? It's because I wasn't very good at it.
Yeah.
You get better, right?
Yeah.
You keep doing it and you get better at it.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that I'm not good at right now. But there's also so many things that I'm so much better at than I was even just a year ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's pretty awesome.
But I think if you don't reflect on that, you don't look at that, you'll never know. So, and I think that's part of being better tomorrow than you were today, is looking back and seeing those accomplishments and seeing how far you've come.
Yeah, I do. I think it's important for us to be able to look back and see where you came from.
Yep.
And yeah, how much better you are.
Yep.
It's okay to say that. I'm better.
I'm better.
I'm better than I was.
Better than I was yesterday.
Better than I was yesterday. Awesome. All right. So that's that.
That is session 5 of the 360-degree leader.
And don't try to pick up your boss like you do a guy at the bar.
No, bad choices.